A profound silence has fallen over the halls of the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, a silence born not of reverence, but of loss. On September 9, 2025, a routine inventory check within a restoration laboratory unveiled a shocking absence. A priceless artifact, a gold bracelet belonging to the 21st dynasty Pharaoh Amenemope, had vanished from its designated storage. This was not a piece on grand display, but one held in the quiet, trusted hands of conservators. The discovery sent immediate shockwaves through the institution and the wider archaeological community, as staff scrambled to understand how such a breach could occur within the museum's supposedly secure walls. The initial search was frantic, a desperate hope that the item was merely misplaced within the labyrinthine archives. The reality, however, was far more sinister than a simple filing error. The laboratory where the bracelet was last seen was a space of meticulous care, yet it critically lacked security cameras, a vulnerability that was ruthlessly exploited. As museum officials began their internal investigation, the hope of a simple mistake quickly evaporated, replaced by the grim certainty of theft. The bracelet was being prepared for potential inclusion in a traveling exhibition destined for Italy, a journey it would now never make. The itemization process, meant to be a standard procedure of cataloging and care, instead became the moment the world learned that a piece of its shared history had been stolen by those entrusted to protect it. The news, officially announced by Egypt's Interior Ministry on September 18, 2025, confirmed the public's worst fears. The bracelet was not just missing, it had been deliberately taken. The theft was not the work of a sophisticated international art thief, but an inside job, a betrayal of the highest order. An employee, a restoration specialist whose very job was to preserve the delicate links to our past, was identified as the primary culprit. This revelation added a layer of profound sadness to the crime. The act was a violation of the sacred trust placed in every museum professional, transforming a sanctuary of history into a crime scene and tarnishing the reputation of an institution beloved by millions. The immediate aftermath was one of chaos and disbelief. How could a 3,000-year-old artifact, a direct link to a pharaoh's life, simply disappear? The incident sparked outrage across Egypt and beyond, with heritage experts and the public alike demanding answers and accountability. The focus quickly shifted from a search for the object to a hunt for the criminals who had dared to erase a piece of antiquity. The story that unfolded was not one of high-stakes international intrigue, but a sordid tale of greed that saw an irreplaceable piece of history valued only for the raw material it contained. The investigation would soon reveal a heartbreakingly simple and devastatingly effective plot to destroy the past for a pittance. The investigation swiftly unraveled the conspiracy, revealing a short and brutal chain of transactions that sealed the bracelet's fate. The narrative began with the museum's own restoration specialist. This individual, surrounded daily by wonders of the ancient world, saw not a cultural treasure but an opportunity for quick cash. She pilfered the delicate gold bracelet from the restoration lab, smuggling it out of the very institution she was paid to serve. Her first step was to pass the priceless artifact to an acquaintance, the owner of a local silver shop. At this point, the bracelet was still intact, a tangible piece of pharaonic Egypt, but its journey toward oblivion had tragically begun. From the silver shop, the artifact's path grew even more grim. The shop owner, acting as a middleman, sold the 3,000-year-old piece to the proprietor of a gold workshop. The price paid was a paltry sum, reportedly between $3,735 and $3,800. For this meager amount, a link to a king who ruled a millennium before the Common Era was treated like common scrap. The workshop owner, in turn, saw no historical value, only its weight in gold. His role was to move it one step further down a supply chain that had no regard for history, science, or culture. The bracelet, which had survived 3 millennia, was now in the hands of those who would see it destroyed in a matter of minutes. The final irreversible act of destruction was carried out by a gold smelter. The workshop owner sold the bracelet to this final link in the chain for a slightly higher price, around $4,000 to $4,025. This smelter, the fourth person to handle the stolen artifact, was the one who subjected it to the intense heat of a foundry. The delicate craftsmanship, the history embedded in its form, and the sacred materials it was made from were all rendered meaningless. The gold band, once worn by a pharaoh, was melted down into a nondescript ingot, its unique identity and story completely and utterly erased. The flesh of the gods was now just a lump of metal, indistinguishable from any other. The swiftness of the destruction is perhaps the most heartbreaking aspect of the crime. Within days of being stolen, the bracelet was gone forever. The 4 suspects were eventually arrested and, according to the Interior Ministry, confessed to their roles in the theft and subsequent melting. As of September 21, 2025, a judge ordered the continued detention of the restoration specialist and her acquaintance, while the other 2 were potentially eligible for bail. Though justice may be served, it offers little comfort. The law in Egypt is severe for such crimes, with penalties up to life imprisonment and massive fines for stealing artifacts with intent to smuggle. But no punishment can bring back what was lost. The stolen bracelet was not just any piece of ancient jewelry. It was a personal possession of Pharaoh Amenemope, a ruler from Egypt's 21st dynasty. This period, known as the Third Intermediate Period, roughly from 1076 to 723 before the Common Era, was a complex time of divided rule, with pharaohs in the northern city of Tanis governing alongside the powerful high priest of Amun at Thebes in the south. Amenemope's reign was part of this intricate political landscape, and artifacts from his time provide crucial insights into the wealth, artistry, and beliefs of an era that is still being pieced together by historians. His tomb, discovered in 1940 by the French Egyptologist Pierre Montet within the royal necropolis of Tanis, was a treasure trove containing around 2,500 artifacts. The bracelet itself was described as elegantly simple, a testament to the refined aesthetics of the period. It was not a grand, ostentatious piece like the funerary treasures of Tutankhamun, but its value was no less significant. The design consisted of a smooth circular gold band, its purity and shine a symbol of eternity. Adorning this band was a single prominent spherical bead made of lapis lazuli. The understated beauty of the piece speaks to a personal item, perhaps worn by the pharaoh in life, rather than one created solely for the tomb. Its destruction means we have lost a tangible connection to the man himself, a piece of adornment that once touched the skin of a king who ruled over 3,000 years ago. The materials used in the bracelet's construction were deeply symbolic in ancient Egyptian culture, elevating the piece far beyond its monetary worth. Gold, with its incorruptible and radiant nature, was believed to be the very flesh of the gods. It represented immortality and divinity, making it the perfect material for objects associated with royalty and the afterlife. The deep celestial blue of the lapis lazuli was equally sacred. This precious stone, imported from the distant mountains of what is now Afghanistan, was thought to represent the heavens and the primeval ocean. It was often referred to as the hair of the gods, and its use in the bracelet created a powerful divine pairing with the gold. The loss of this specific object is a blow to our understanding of the 21st dynasty. While Amenemope's golden funerary mask has toured the world in exhibitions, bringing his image to millions, smaller, more personal items like the bracelet offer a different kind of insight. They tell a more intimate story of the individual, their tastes, and the craftsmanship of their time. The bracelet was a unique data point for scientists and historians, offering clues about trade routes for the lapis lazuli, metallurgical techniques for the gold, and royal iconography. Now that data point is gone, and the story it uniquely told has been silenced forever, melted down for a fraction of its true value. The melting of Pharaoh Amenemope's bracelet is an act of cultural vandalism from which there is no recovery. Unlike a stolen painting that might one day be found, this artifact has been physically obliterated. Its form, its history, and its scientific value have been annihilated for a small quantity of raw gold. This incident is a stark and painful reminder that ancient artifacts are not renewable resources. Each one is a unique survivor of time, a messenger from a world we can only glimpse through such remnants. When one is destroyed, a word, a sentence, or even an entire chapter of the human story is ripped out, leaving a permanent void that can never be filled by research or replication. The scientific loss is immense. Archaeologists study artifacts to understand the past, how people lived, what they believed, what they were capable of creating. The bracelet could have been further studied for trace elements in its gold to pinpoint its origin, or its tool marks could have revealed more about the techniques of 21st dynasty artisans. It was a primary source document crafted by ancient hands. Its destruction robs future generations of scholars of the chance to ask new questions and apply new technologies to unlock its secrets. We have lost not only what we knew about the object, but all the things we had yet to learn from it. Its cultural essence has been sacrificed for its base material. This tragic event has quite rightly ignited a firestorm of criticism and calls for reform. In Egypt and around the world, heritage experts are demanding a comprehensive overhaul of security protocols for antiquities. Archaeologist Monica Hanna has forcefully called for a temporary suspension of all overseas loans and exhibitions until internal security at museums and storage facilities can be guaranteed. The argument is simple. If Egypt cannot protect its treasures within its own institutions, how can it justify sending them abroad? The theft highlights a systemic failure, where the focus on high-profile galleries leaves storerooms and labs, which house the vast majority of collections, dangerously exposed to insider threats. Ultimately, protecting ancient artifacts is about more than preserving objects. It is about safeguarding our collective memory and identity. These items connect us to our ancestors, showing us the foundations upon which our modern world was built. They inspire awe, fuel curiosity, and teach us about the enduring creativity and complexity of the human spirit. The loss of Amenemope's bracelet is a tragedy for Egypt, but it is also a loss for all of humanity. It serves as a brutal lesson that our shared past is incredibly fragile, and that its protection requires unwavering vigilance, uncompromising security, and a deep, abiding respect that must never be swayed by the lure of gold.